The Minnesota Vikings select Anthony Barr, linebacker. Anthony Barr will return but sacked.
Dalvin Cook, running back, Florida State.
Dalvin ready to lose. Minnesota select Justin Jefferson.
Yo, welcome to the Vikings virtual Vikings draft happy hour. My name is Gabe Henderson from the Vikings Entertainment Network, and I am excited to be joined by some friends. I'm talking about Ron Johnson from Vikings Game Day Live. We got voice of the Vikings, Paul Allen, over at KFAN, along with Ben Lieber and Pete Bursich. For starters, PA, I got to ask you, what are you doing with your hair?
Well, I mean, you've seen my hair before, so, I mean, it's just so way out of control that I always put this in my back pocket. And it's the style, man. I mean, you guys can worry about the draft and the Vikings and everything. I'm going to work on this new breaking news career, specifically for Vikings fans. And with that comes a new style where Nacho Lieber told me earlier, you just got to change your style if you're going to break big stories. So that's what I'm doing, Gabe.
Well, it's a lot of big stories today, and starting off with, we got the 14th overall pick, and there is a lot of talk. Throw your mock drafts out the window. We are here. We are less than 90 minutes away, and I got to pose a question for the group. Ron, I'm going to start with you. I'm a little anxious. I'm a little nervous, and I'm not even making the pick. So how are you feeling going into the draft right now?
Well, I'm not Rick Spielman, so I'm not nervous at all. I think the biggest thing when you look at who they have to pick, it's going to be an offensive lineman, most likely. And I know Ben Lieber talked about Vera Tucker. We've talked about Darrisaw. There's so many guys out there, but then everybody wants to go and get that second-round pick. Is it a value to get it? And is there going to be a lineman still there, like a Leatherwood, like an Eichenberg? So I think that's going to be the key. So I'm not really nervous. I don't have to make the pick.
That's very true. Well, we got some celebrities. We got a lot of guests showing up tonight. I mean, Kirk Cousins, Ursa Jr. You see it on your screen right now. We have a loaded show for you guys tonight. But more importantly, I'm excited to talk to Ben Lieber right now because, Ben, me and you are matching, but more importantly, you have a very, vested interest into this draft. And I mean, you have so many. I like what you got on, but just talk about your thoughts, your feelings heading into tonight.
Gabe, we are matching, but I don't have a tie on. I'm kind of shirtless right now, so maybe I can pull off that look. I had to quick change what I was wearing earlier to put this on, so I'm not as dapper looking as you are.
Hey, all the ladies here at iHeart, no, stay back, okay? The studio is closed. Social distancing. Come on.
Taco meat alert. You don't want to see any of this. That's
Just zip
nasty.
it down low.
No,
Zip it down low.
Question, Gabe?
But Ben, your 14th overall pick, how you feeling now?
I mean, I feel great about it. We've talked about it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and if they stay at 14, I'm happy with that. If we trade down and they feel like they can get one of these top offensive linemen that they have graded in the first round that they think to come in and start right away, whether it's guard or tackle, it doesn't matter. If they could trade down, get that second round pick that Ron was talking about, I'd be really happy with that too. But in the event that they somehow find a player that they want to trade up for, dude, I'm on the edge of my seat. I think everybody in Vikings land is going to be on the edge of their seat. And I'll be excited to see what happens and then what happens after that. So all of the possibilities, I am really excited for it. I think they're in a good spot.
Well, if you're looking at the poll right now, that Vikings draft happy hour poll, a lot of people are saying the Vikings should stay at 14. 36.7% of people are saying that. 34% are saying the Vikings should trade down. Pete, what you thinking, man?
Yeah. Well, you take a look. I think overall you look at this team and you look at the defense, and you brought in five new guys, 5 new faces. You get Danielle Hunter back. That's going to be 6 that could be starting on day one. So you really done a lot in free agency to revamp that defense. And then you look at offensively. So by a pure need basis, yes, the Vikings need an offensive line. And, oh, by the way, if we go offensive line with the first pick, that's 4 years in a row that we've drafted an offensive lineman in the first or second round. So hopefully bringing in one more that's drafted that highly will help bolster that offensive line. So I think as a franchise, the Vikings have done a ton in the offseason to get and bring free agents in. Love the guys that they got. Unfortunately, you lose the second-round pick because of Unique Ngakoue. So to get that back, I would not be surprised if the Vikings do decide to trade down.
Yeah, trade down. I mean, that's always a viable option. But we talk about the second-round pick last year. You talk about the Vikings selecting Ezra Cleveland, is who we're talking about. He's going to join the show later today. But PA, we got the 14th overall pick. We got the 78 pick. That's 64 picks in between. How patient do you think Rick will be, can be, and should be?
Well, from history with Rick, he has traded up 9 times and back 24. So he's very good at this. Now, patience is not a problem for him. With no second round pick, Ben Lieber on the power trip this morning, I believe it was him, laid it out beautifully where, if say Elijah Vera-Tucker, Christian Darrisaw, an offensive lineman, whatever, are not available at 14, and you want to move back to get a second round pick, okay, in theory, that makes sense. But that doesn't mean everybody wants to roll up to 14 to get whatever is available at 14, a cornerback or whatever. So it's easier thought than actually done. But that doesn't mean he can't use the 4th round and 3rd round commodity to get up somewhere closer to the 2nd round. But it's very intriguing the way things are going to work out tonight. I think there will be trades within the top 11 or 12. I think Philadelphia wants to move up to get a corner. I still don't buy San Francisco is going to draft Mac Jones. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And there could be a quarterback slipping due to some off-the-field health situations. And, if that quarterback gets there around 10, 11, 12, 13, then maybe teams would want to come up to where we are.
Yes, it's a lot to weigh, a lot to vary, but at the same time, I mean, we want to hear from you fans. Use the hashtag Vikings draft throughout the entire night, and we'll try to get to your questions, some of your submissions. We see them coming in already, so continue to fill those things out. But, Ron, I'm going to pose this question to you because you were a former Vikings wide receiver. You were a former NFL wide receiver. We talked about it here, on the Vikings Entertainment Network a few times. So the wide receiver position, you got Adam Thielen, you got Justin Jefferson, B.C. Johnson, K.J. Osborne. How important is it to address the wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 4 position?
I mean, if I were Rick Spielman, I'm going to draft one of the guys in the 1st round. I mean, you got Rashad Bateman, you got Jamar Chase. If one of those guys is there, I take him. Devonta Smith. But, I mean, Brian Billick brought it up. He drafted Randy Moss when he had Chris Carter and Jake Reed already. And then he was like, who cares about defense? You got to stop us. That is a viable option, but the problem with trying to stop them is somebody has to block. And I think that's the key. But, I mean, I would say if you can get that 2nd round pick, there's receivers there. 3rd round, there's still some guys. I don't know where Rondale Moore is going to fall. Kadarius Toney, they're saying 1st round, but we all know if there's only 2 receivers taken earlier, 3, a lot of those receivers are going to fall back into the 2nd and 3rd round. They did get T. Higgins with the Bengals last year in the 2nd. So there is opportunity. But I would say K.J. Osborne did a decent job as kick or punt returner. But you need a guy who's explosive. And if Rondale Moore is there in the 3rd, I would try to get him.
Great.
And Gabe, I mean, you definitely have to know by now because Ron and I know each other so well. If you ask Ron about a wide receiver, he's going to say take Rashad Bateman in front of Trevor Lawrence. If you ask Nacho and Bursich about Micah Parsons or linebacker du jour, come on. I mean, that's how these competitors are wired.
Well, and Gabe, I mean, to piggyback, on his point is we still need a returner. That's the one thing that the Vikings have been missing for the last couple of seasons. So I think any running back or wide receiver that offers that type of versatility may end up being a 3rd round, a 3rd round option for the Minnesota Vikings.
Speaking of returner, I'm going to return this question back to you because you played a linebacker for the Vikings back in the day. We have Anthony Barr. We have Eric Kendricks. We just signed Nick Vigil. Are we should we look at any other linebackers?
If you look at a linebacker, I think you just need to worry about depth. I think that, when you take a look at Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr and then the guys that they're going to have directly in front of them, and Michael Pierce and Dalvin Tomlinson, it's going to be completely different to play that position for the Minnesota Vikings this year than it was last year. So if any play is made there, I think Vigil's good enough to be, your 3rd down. I mean, not your 3rd down, but your number 3 linebacker. He's the Sam kind of guy. He moves real well, covers well, so he could be a good backup nickel-type linebacker. So I think the only thing that you would do at that position right now is add some depth. I think we have our starters figured out at the linebacker position.
Lieber formulated a massive opinion, 9 to noon KFAN this morning, about Troy Dye and opportunity and backups to Kendricks and Barr, and very compelling because there are some linebackers rounds 4, 5, and 6 I was thinking about. I'm back to rounds 5, 6, and 7 now after the way Nacho laid that out today. Come on.
Well, it looks like we got Adam Thielen in the chat. Adam, thanks for joining, man.
Oh, AT.
What the heck is going on with you, PA?
Hi, Adam. How are you?
Great. You?
Don't you, now that I think of it, don't you wear things like this under your helmet?
Yeah, you're trying to steal my swag.
I'm stealing your swag. I'm trying to be a big-time athlete like you, but when you become 55, any new style like energizes you for a year and a half. So I'm just going to make this my own for better or for worse, and hopefully you support me.
I like how you match. That's a nice look.
Don't think that didn't go into it either, young man.
Hey, PA, I feel like if you take that bandana off, the hair will come off with it. Is that true?
And if you guys are really so insecure with your masculinity, masculine femininity, I'll take it off, okay? My hair's a disaster. It's not the A topic on the show. Number 19 is.
Number 19.
And yes, maybe I stole this from his locker in 2018, which feels like the last time I actually saw him in person. So I'm going to put it back on, and we're just going to move on.
18, 19. How you feeling right now, man? We're less than 90 minutes away from the draft. You're going to get a future teammate here. What's your thought process right now?
Oh, I'm enjoying it as a fan. You know, anytime the last, going on 8 years now, watching the draft, I'm just watching it as a fan, see what happens, who we pick, and I enjoy the part of once we make the pick, seeing their highlight video, seeing, hearing them talk about the pick that we just had and the positives of who, how they can help us as a team, and look back at last year, I got to see Justin Jefferson get picked and see him doing those things on the field, and I knew when I saw that tape that they showed right after we drafted him, I knew he was going to be a special player.
Well, one tape I saw this year was you trying to do the gritty against the Dallas Cowboys. Like, where are we at in the process of you stepping that game up? And I think he dropped out. I think he's getting a call. So, Lieber, the light is shining on you so bright. I don't know if it's like your head, just being there, but at the same time, I want to know from you, what is the shiny pick this year in the draft for the Minnesota Vikings?
Hey, how about this little thing? You got Packers fans talking in the background. It's Chuck Foreman.
Okay, but I'm on the right page.
Making fun of headbands, and here comes.
All right, so just get off right now.
Smile in the world.
What's up, Earth?
What up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Good, man. How about you?
We're good. Yeah, we got to tell Chuck Foreman to hit mute. I think he got it.
Chuck Foreman?
Chuck Foreman needs a light.
He needs some of Ben Lieber's light.
Backlighting. Listen, I'm too bright because I'm going bald, and there's nothing I can do about it. I don't have any professional matting cream or makeup or anything. Chuck Foreman can't figure out the backlighting. You can't even see him.
And he's on the phone.
Swerve can mute himself. He's got 10 dogs barking in the background. What's going on around here?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Adam's just sitting back there with the most beautiful family in the world, taking the whole thing in, thinking about doing some golfing, living life virtually.
Yeah.
I mean, and then we got Irv. I know where he is. Nobody else does. God bless you on that.
Hey, Paul, I think QB1 is trying to talk to you.
Paul, I think QB1 is trying to talk to his teammates. Kirk Cousins is in the chat. He doesn't have his screen on, but he's here. So, Kirk, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
How are you guys doing?
Good. So I'm gonna pose.
Yeah, we're great, man. Yeah, great.
I'm gonna pose the question for you first. Draft night, you were drafted 4th round back in the 2012 draft. What were some of your favorite draft memories?
Here, I'm gonna turn my screen on for you guys. I'm at the golf course.
You and Thielen right now.
He's at the golf course.
This is beautiful.
I just pounded a high nasty bomb down the middle of the fairway. So I'm gonna go walk to my shop. But you asked me about my memories as a 4th round pick. You kind of have no expectations going into the draft. You just pray that you're going to end up in the right spot. And I was fortunate enough when I got to Washington to be coached by Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, and be in a great system. And I'm still benefiting from that because playing with Gary Kubiak and now Clint Kubiak, it's the same system. So it's really a marathon, not a sprint. I think too many times nowadays they kind of make the draft publicly through the media. They make that the finish line, when really the draft should be the starting line for these guys. So when they walk across the stage and hug the commissioner, that's all well and good. But the players who are going to, do the best from here are the ones who get their mind right and view it as a starting line, not a finishing line.
That's awesome. I should have asked you what's your favorite memory from the fourth hole today, but I'll ask you about the fourth round of the draft. But, going into the 2021 season, what are your expectations for a guy like Irv Smith Jr. and a guy like Adam Thielen? Two guys, Adam's the vet, Irv Smith Jr. is coming into a veteran role, but your thoughts?
I got big expectations. I mean, they ought to have big years. They know that. They expect that. And quite frankly, it's on me to make sure that they get the opportunities that they should have to be able to show what they can do. So, I'm always just viewing it as I'm a point guard trying to distribute to a bunch of shooting guards who all deserve the ball and all deserve a lot of shots. And so we got to give them those opportunities.
I got a question. And now with your new Mike Vick-like running style for first downs, I mean, what another facet of the offense that is just going to take good and just elevate it up to great, right?
I mean, let's be honest. There's a ceiling there, so I know it's not going to be my bread and butter. But yeah, time to time, if guys are covered and there's a seam, you better believe I need to be ready to take it quickly and then get down. But I'd much rather be a distributor throwing the football than having to get yards with my legs.
When you run for a first down, I'm a fan.
Well, Kurt, we got wide receiver 1 or 1A. 1B, however you want to say it. We also have tight end 1 now. So, Irv Smith, you have your quarterback on the line. If they don't go wide receiver in the draft or wide receiver 3, how much can you be in this offense as a slot receiver?
I'm just excited to, show the work that I've, been putting in this offseason. Kirk, he's going to do a great job, obviously, of, delivering us the ball. And, everybody knows their role on this team. And, whatever it is, we all capable and are excited to, go out and show what we could do. So, I'm just excited to get back on the field with my guys and, get back to
it. Hey, Adam, I'm curious. I'm not sure how much you've watched some of these top tier wide receivers, but is there a guy that you watched and said, like, damn, like this guy is NFL ready right now. He could have a season much like Justin Jefferson. Is there a guy in this wide receiver group that's one of your favorites?
Yeah, I wish I would have studied it more just to see these guys, but I can just go off of, watching some college games. Chase, obviously, Jamar Chase, he's obviously had some huge games for LSU and being able to watch Justin play with him a few years ago and obviously the success he had, I think he was ready 2 years ago to play in the NFL. And then I've been able to train with Bateman. He's ready to go. He was ready last year to play in the NFL. So I'm expecting big things. All those guys. I know Ron Johnson loves Bateman. I think he's got a chance to be a special player. And like Kirk said, you just hope these guys. You just really never know because you hope these guys don't have the draft as a finish line. You hope that it's a starting point for them. And, when they take that mindset, just like Justin did, just like Irv did, just like a lot of guys in this team have done, is use it as a starting line and know that there's a lot of work to do from there. I think they'll be able to have some success.
And Pete and Ben, when we were calling those games last year, Gabe was with us in the Vox box for the road games. And, so he kind of felt it and saw it too with Irv Smith Jr. We love Kyle Rudolph, and I wish him nothing but the best with the New York Giants. Right. But when it started to really click with Irv, obviously number 8 having a lot to do with that, and then Conklin got in the mix. Remember how excited we got with how good Tyler got out of nowhere? Compliment Irv, man. I mean, that's that 1-2 bunch right there. And as Kirk would say, the Marion Flash, Brandon Dillon. I don't know what his life is, if he's going to make it, not make it, or whatever. But I would imagine you need somebody like that to complement catchers and who are fast. I like our tight end group, Pete, don't you?
I do. And I want to ask Irv a question. When I did the highlight film on all the Dalvin Cook runs, you were in there as a blocker a lot more often than I remembered. In fact, it was either you or Rudolph on the field for I think almost all of the 20-some runs that we did. I think that your season really, as a receiver, especially in the red zone, took off when you started becoming, a threat out of the backfield as a blocker. What is your take on that?
Most definitely. I feel like, just for me, as a tight end, you don't want to just be a receiving tight end. You don't want to be a guy that's, one-dimensional, that you know what they're doing on the field. So for me, I want to be a tight end that can, play both the run and the pass, and just go out there and show what I can do in both aspects of the game.
Nice. Well, NFL Network's Tom Pelissero is here. Tom, thank you for joining me. You look a little confused.
I'm trying to figure out. I haven't ever logged on to Microsoft Teams before, so sorry that I'm behind everybody else who did 1,000 of these meetings last year. I haven't done this before.
And we lost Cousins for about a minute and a half. Did you have to poke into the woods to go to the bathroom, or what happened?
Slice.
I had to hit my second shot, and now I'm in the trap.
Hey, Kurt, so we want to do something. Since PA is announcer, Pelissero is an analyst, Adam Thielen is the best golfer in this room right now. Kirk, have somebody leave it live while you get out the trap, and then I want PA to kind of break it down like an announcer would do.
Oh, yeah, because those golf balls are always so exciting.
And you're just making me
jealous. Give you this look.
You got to make it exciting, PA.
Steve, why don't you hold my phone? Can you hold my phone here?
Yeah.
All right. Let me see.
Point at you so they can see your sand shot.
This is happening.
Yep. Here, you just do selfie mode, basically. Hold it
Because
like
he says how
and
good
then
he is. We got to see this.
Shouldn't we all just yell, "Get the hole"?
This is really happening right now. Your screen is
So I
off,
can get
Kirk.
the flag.
Kirk, we got to get the video
You got
going
to turn
again.
your screen on, Kirk.
Adam and Irv, I hope Kirk runs a huddle better than he does this thing.
He's out. Yeah.
That's not bad.
We never saw
We
it.
didn't
We
see
never
it.
saw it.
I'm not a golfer. So
Oh, you never saw it. All right. Well, then I'm safe. But Adam could talk to you about that swing later on.
Okay.
I've been getting videos from this random number of Kirk's golf swing.
So, Adam, I got to ask you.
How about Chuck Foreman? He just showed up with a poorly lit background looking like a poltergeist, and now he's just gone.
Yeah.
I hope he's okay.
All right, guys.
Technology is not his friend.
I don't know what happened to Chuck Foreman, but Adam, you were saying Kirk sends you text messages every other day about his swing. So I got to ask you, what's better, his golf swing or his gritty?
Oh my goodness, his golf swing is much better. His swing has actually gotten pretty dang good. We played in a tournament this offseason together. It was a celebrity tournament in Orlando, and he struggled a bit, and I think it hurt his feelings. So he after it pretty good this offseason, trying to get his game right.
So his cousin's gone?
He's stuck in the trap.
Hey, Tommy, NFL Network, Boston College, Edina High School. Working on any whoppers tonight?
Yeah, hold on. I actually have a GM FaceTiming me right now. I don't know if there's a butt dial or not, but give me 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Okay, tell Next Level Booty, I'm sorry about this morning. Don't kill the messenger.
Yeah, humble brag, no big deal.
Move right there. That was a big time move.
That was. He big
That was the
timed
most
you.
creative way to say I have to go to the bathroom I've ever heard.
No, that was great.
I got the GM FaceTiming me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even if it wasn't true, it's like the coolest thing I've ever heard.
So, Irv, have you started golfing?
Irv, are you with Lenny Kravitz right now? Where are you?
I'm at my aunt's crib in New Orleans.
Nice.
Oh, you're in New Orleans? I thought those curtains were the Las Vegas curtains from that Zoom we did with Patrick Peterson.
No. I'm
Oh,
back.
really?
I'm back.
I was going to tell you Fred Van Vliet's out tonight, but we can talk about that later.
Irv, your 3 goals, man. Go ahead.
Your 3 goals? I'm still putting those together, but definitely, finish healthy the whole season. At least 10 touchdowns. At least, let's see, I say 5-6 catches a game.
Is that for you?
That's for me.
No, that'd be terrific, but I'm just saying, like, when you say things like that, I mean, here, this is a happy hour, so we're like, tapping glasses and talking football, so it's not going to get out there. But those are lofty projections.
Oh yeah, I mean, most definitely. You gotta set the bar high for yourself. You don't want to, shorten yourself in any.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the man is confident. If you haven't
it.
seen his Instagram, PA, I mean, he's just swagged out, confident. I mean, I see it. So I can see that. Five catches a game. He could do it.
So I'm assuming that's that's at least 30, 35, 40 pass attempts a game. So, Adam, I'm assuming you'll be happy with that too, right?
Hey, I'm good with that. As long as Irv's doing his thing out there, making plays, scoring touchdowns, I'm all good with it. Winning games is a big deal, and Irv will be a big part of that. So when he's scoring touchdowns, means we're doing good things.
I think that's great. We'll have Chad Beebe on the happy hour saying he's going to go for 6 and 95 a game. JJ comes in 10, 130 and 2. Adam's done it for years. Dalvin's over here going, hello, remember I'm on the team, guys.
We might have to flex him out, PA, if he wants to get some more touches, if that's the case. But Adam, I mean, year 3 was when you started to come into this league. Irv Smith Jr. is going into year 3. Any advice that you would have for him, for a guy that, you know, that is starting to come into his own and more responsibility is going to be asked upon him?
Yeah, you know, I mean, Irv knows this, but you know, and he's doing it. But at the end of the day, you got to keep pushing yourself. You got to keep getting better. You know, the off season is an important time, obviously, to do those things, and he does that, and that's why he's been able to get better every single year, and with limited opportunity. Let's be honest, you know, he hasn't had a whole lot of opportunities, made the most of it. So when you see guys like that bust their tail in the off season, they come in there and they work every single day. They kind of, you know, there was no complaining out of Irv when he was getting limited opportunities the last few years, and I heard not one thing from him other than just positive attitude, come to work, grind, and that's the kind of guys we have in this locker room that's going to help us win games, and hopefully we win a lot of them.
Hey, Adam, so I'm going to change gears a little bit. You were at a Rise with the Guys this year. I saw with Tony Dungy, Dabo Swinney. What did that event do for you as far as going forward in this offseason and then getting ready for the season, hearing Dabo, seeing Tony again? What was that like?
Yeah, you know, honestly, the thing that I took out of it most was the leadership skills that Dabo, you know, that how he leads his program. You know, when he started talking about how he leads his program, how he started it from day one when he got in that building, it really pushed me to be a better leader and to lead in a different way. You know, the little details. Obviously, being around Tony I've been going to a Rise with the Guys for a lot of years now, and he's done a bunch of chapels for us on our team. So I know the type of leader he is and how much he's pushed me to become a better person and football player and a better leader. But, you know, Dabo, just the way that he was able to talk about his leadership ability and how he instills it from the ground up was really special. And I wish I had the speech for everybody to hear it and just to hear, you know, kind of how he goes about his business, because it is special.
Yeah, speaking of Dabo Swinney and Clemson, I feel like Tom Pelissero may be on the phone with Dabo Swinney or somebody trying to figure out where Travis Etienne is going to go. Like, we still haven't seen him show up to his screen. It's kind of like what was it, Bill Belichick last year when the NFL Network camera went to his dog. His dog was there. So I'm still trying to figure out where he is. But Irv, man, I'm so excited for you this upcoming season, man. Adam, I'm so excited for you. Any final thoughts for Vikings fans that have been craving getting to see you guys on the field again this year?
We just excited to get back to it, honestly. I mean, I miss the guys. I miss Adam, Kirk, you know, JJ, all the guys. I mean, we just excited to get back to it, and, you know, let's bring a ring home this year.
For sure. I think it's exciting when, you know, we started virtual meetings again, and we'll be back in the building in a few weeks. And I think it's just exciting to be around the guys, like Irv said, and getting back to work. You know, at the end of the day, we're football players. We love to play football. We're doing this for a reason. It's not for the money. It's not for the fame. It's because we love going to work with our teammates, and we love to play football. So excited to get back and do that.
And Adam, you know, Ron Johnson and I talked a lot about this last year when you guys went virtual. Seriously, with a virtual offseason, depth of route, the routes to run. Now, I know Justin worked a lot with you, and that helped immensely. To do what Justin Jefferson did last year with no preseason games and a virtual offseason, are you kidding me? I mean, am I wrong here by really overinflating it? I thought it was unbelievable.
It was unbelievable, and I think that just shows, you know, the type of guy he is. You know, the type of work he was putting in on his own. It's not very easy. You know, it's not easy for anybody, but let alone a rookie who's never really been around it, doesn't maybe understand, you know, the amount of work that these guys that are the best in the NFL put in. For him to just kind of love the game, put in that work in the off season when nobody was kind of there to hold him accountable. Definitely impressive, and you know why he had such an electric season.
Look at that.
Awesome. I think Robert Smith is in the chat.
Oh, look at that.
Robert Smith, thank you for joining, man. How you feeling? Oh, Chuck Foreman has
he
some
got
nice
lights.
backlight now.
Chuck got lights.
Well, yeah.
Somebody get him a Miller Lite. That's what he needs.
Hey, Rob, how you doing? I think he's still trying to figure out his audio. So, Chuck, how are you? How's everything going your way?
I'm good. I hope I'm good.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, we hear you.
Oh, yeah. Can you hear us?
Do you,
All right, good.
Do you still get excited for the draft,
Go ahead,
Chuck?
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I do. I like to see, I guess all of us are guessing who's going to take who. We really don't know, except for who's the number one guy, maybe the number two guy. But yeah, it's exciting to see what happens. I remember it wasn't this busy when I got drafted. I know that.
Ron Johnson, you and Gabe back at the TCO studios were just having this great argument over best running back in Vikings history, Robert Smith or Chuck Foreman. I why don't you just go ahead and continue that right now?
I'm not going there, man.
That's easy. It's Chuck.
No, man. Only thing I go by. I do it in intervals. Every 10 years, you know, I had my time. Robert certainly had his. And then they got somebody else coming. So it's a whole different game.
Yeah.
Well, and Chuck, you ended up being Rookie of the Year. What advice would you give a young man that's drafted this year?
Oh, Tom.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's just like, come ready to work. Be committed. In every aspect, you know, you got to have your mental. Hey, the physical part is easy. The mental part is where you got to really come ready. You know, because a lot of guys don't understand when you come to this level, it's a whole different ball game.
Yes.
Hey, Tom's back.
Yeah, Tom's back. Tom, did you any
Can you tell us?
That was not news. I thought maybe that was definitely not news. But some folks are having fun here an hour before the draft. Put it that way. Even people who have picks to make this weekend.
Also, was
not often you get a FaceTime call from.
I thought you were getting a FaceTime call from Rick Spielman, and he was going to tell you if he was trading back or staying at 14.
That big ticket.
What happened?
He's open to all options. I believe that's his line, right?
Yeah.
Very true. Well, Kevin Williams is here. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Not much, man. Glad to have you on. Glad to have everybody on. Ben, you had a question? My bad.
There goes Kevin. Just like when we missed our pick twice in 2008, ended up with Kevin.
Worked out.
Just poof, it's gone.
That's very true.
No.
Hey,
Robert.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about you guys, when you and Chuck played, the running back position was coveted, very valuable. Now there's rumors that there might not be a first-round draft pick that's a running back. What do you say about the way that the NFL is going? And there's teams with a lot of success running the football, but yet when it comes to the draft, they just don't value them.
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
I think that the way that the offenses are now, obviously being pass heavy, you know, the running backs that can get out of the backfield, create some mismatch problems, guys that can line up in the formation, flex out, force a bad matchup. Those are the kind of guys, and that, you know, might be like, why we see Travis Etienne be the first running back taken off the board this year. But, it takes a different kind of mentality, to do what Tennessee does, and maybe a different kind of running back. As we all know, Derrick Henry is. There aren't a lot of guys built like him, but it's interesting. Things do tend to evolve, but I think it'll be interesting to see over the next couple of years with the evolution as defenses get smaller to account for some of these smaller and faster wide receivers and more of the pass sets. If teams do try and go back to some of those 2 and 3 tight end sets with bigger backs and try and pound it a little.
Hey, Kevin, so we're going to get you into this conversation. We're talking running backs, and you look at the Tennessee Titans, and they just run the ball all the time. But then you look at other teams now, and it's becoming pass happy. As a 3 technique, as a guy who, was valued as far as stopping the run, when you see an NFL where, the three technique is kind of, not to say going out the door, but you don't see a ton of like big, huge Pat Williams type guys anymore, how does that make you feel, or where do you see the NFL going?
It's definitely a pass-happy league. I mean, you look at Tennessee, that's like ancient football nowadays. Nobody lines up and runs it 35, 40 times a game, and the running back position is pretty much manned by committee. You got a first down back, you got a second down back, you got a third down back. I mean, it's a different back for every down. And and the three techniques now are basically defensive ends. Look at it. All the ends are moving inside, playing three technique, and you really have one really main run stopper in there. When I went to Seattle, I mean, Mike Bennett was the main three technique on third down, and I was playing nose again with him. So that's just kind of how the game is changing, and nobody, you used to hear it back in the day. You play the run on the way to the pass, but that's really becoming to the forefront now.
Well, as far as the running back goes, as far as when I came into the league, the NFL was a run-dominated league. Of course, we as the Vikings, we were totally different because we were the runner as a pass receiver. That was me. So when we came in, we were doing what they're doing now long ago. So this is like, to me, it's good to see those guys getting their due because in my time, we weren't respected that way. So it's good to see those guys come in, the multi-purpose back, the quote-unquote pure runner. I don't want to say he's obsolete at all, but the more you can do, better you are. And, I think my time, myself, Terry Metcalf, a guy, Greg Pruitt and a couple other guys, we were doing what they were doing way long ago.
Agreed. Hey, Tom, I know you got to get out of here soon, so before you leave, who do you have the Vikings
select?
Sorry,
I missed my window. I didn't mean to do that. Bad timing. What do you got for me?
14th overall pick. Should the Vikings stay? Should they trade up, trade back, and who should they select?
Rick Spielman's made a lot of calls as far up as into the top 10 over the past several days here. There's a lot of different scenarios, and really the entire league is stuck right now on the fact that nobody can say with 100% certainty who the 49ers are going to take at number 3. So because of that, we don't know who's going to slide past that. In other words, you don't know who's in play to trade up. A lot of teams with feelers out. The Vikings are one of them. If you start to see those offensive tackles getting pushed down, I would not be surprised at all if you were to make a move up for Penei Sewell, maybe Rashawn Slater. If they stay at 14, Elijah Vera Tucker, if he's still there, the USC tackle, also can play guard. He's probably a guard. That is the name to watch. If all those guys get wiped out, obviously this is Rick Spielman. He may well trade back if he ends up staying there. Edge rusher would be another position to watch.
Hey, Tom, you're doing this in the Twin Cities, right, where you live?
I am. This is the basement studio right here that they built out. So I'm about 10 feet away from my Peloton, so I might just go back and forth. We got 10 minutes on the clock in round one. I'm just going to keep the heart rate up.
Well, I was going to make a, hey, at least you're not in Cleveland joke, but then I saw Robert Smith, who's Ohio proud. I ain't going to make that joke.
We had those jokes so much growing. And first of all, I was born in Cleveland. I grew up, right up on the lake. In Euclid, which borders Cleveland to the east side. So we used to hear those jokes, and the theater would just erupt with laughter whenever we heard the jokes about Cleveland growing up. But it looks a lot different than when I was growing up there with the Rock Hall of Fame and obviously the new Brown Stadium. Downtown's really nice now.
Hey, Ron, I don't have a general manager FaceTiming me, but I do have to go host a radio show. So, Gabe, Ron, Robert Smith, Chuck Foreman, Tom Pelissero, Pete, see you guys later. Good luck to the Vikes in the draft.
Absolutely, guys. After this,
nice job, Candace Anderson.
Thank you. Hey, guys.
I also got to get out of here, but real quick for the running backs, for Robert and Chuck, here's one thing that might surprise people tonight. I bet 3 running backs go in the first round. There's been a lot of buzz about that in the past 24 hours. Not just Najee Harris, but Travis Etienne. Watch him around the Jets pick at 23. And there's a lot of people who love Devontae Williams from North Carolina. All those guys could end up coming off the board tonight. Kevin, sorry, there's no defensive tackles. You literally could probably step in better than a lot of these guys right now based on how you look. See you, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Take it easy.
Hey, well, I think that poses – see you, Tom. I think that poses my next question for you, Rob, Ticket, and Chuck Foreman. You guys were all 3 first-round picks back in the day. Is it more pressure being a first-round pick, or, you come in to training camp with the same mindset that, hey, I got to work for my spot also?
For me, when I got here, my mindset was to come in and play, and I knew they had some really good backs here when I got here, and I just came ready to play, and my objective was to come and start, and that was my attitude when I got here.
I wanted to play, but I don't think it was a lot of expectation when we were drafted. These guys get way more money now, so they expected to play right away. But by the time we got to that first season game, it's like, you're gonna be starting. I was like, oh crap, I better pick it up. But I planned on playing, but I didn't think I would start right away. But hey, it worked out, man. It started in the year.
You didn't think you were going to start, but we knew you were going to start.
And it was a little different when I got drafted. Terry Allen had just broken the team rushing record the year before. Was still on the team, and obviously he ended up getting hurt. Well, not obviously. It's been 28 years. For those of you that don't remember, Terry got hurt in training camp, tore his ACL. So the expectation when I got drafted was just that I'd be coming in, maybe provide a change of pace to what Terry Allen was. Roger Craig was on the team at that time as well. So, I think I felt pressure just kind of getting drafted where I got drafted. To me, anybody that gets drafted in the first round probably has some pressure on themselves more than it's coming from the outside. And, of course, the media attention and social media didn't exist back then. So I wasn't really paying attention to any of that stuff. The coaches weren't putting the pressure on. All that pressure really came from inside.
Well, let's have some fun, man. This is a happy hour. We know Kevin Williams used to spend a lot of time at Bellinote. So let's take it back. Hey, Lieber, we're in a bar right now, we're just talking. Who would you have a better chance of tackling, Chuck Foreman in his prime or Robert Smith?
Oh, man.
Hey, you got Kevin up front, though, so Kevin's going to take care of the fullback. It's you and these two in the hole.
Deep into the night of drinking.
Right.
You're going to get vastly different answers. If it's 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm taking you all out. Try. I'll get that bravery going, and at about 1 in the morning, I think I can take everybody on.
I guess we got to pose the same question to Pete Burcich.
Well, yeah, Burcich, you're a backer. Who you got in the hole? You and Foreman, or you and Smith? Who you got a better shot at?
Well, I think Robert's more likely to pull a hamstring running through the offensive line, so that way I could fall on the back of his legs and maybe bring him down if he trips over me. I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one in both those guys. Both those guys so fast, so good. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at Kevin Williams, and hopefully he's talked to somebody at Oklahoma State, because you got a guy like Chuba Hubbard, and you think, I'm watching this kid run, and I know their offense is a little different, but he reminded me of Robert when the kid runs, meaning if he gets himself in the open, he makes one move, and there's just nobody bringing that kid down.
Well,
he's a track star.
Before I get you 3 out of here, Chuck, Ticket, and Robert, I want to get you guys' mock selection for the Vikings with the 14th overall pick.
Offensive line, if there's one ready, but otherwise, wide receiver. They got plenty of those.
Yes.
Really good ones too.
I'm gonna say line as well. I think we need interior on both sides. So either way, offense or defensive line, I think would be the pick to go if one of those good value picks are there available.
Yeah, I think, like a lot of people, I think it's most likely to be offensive line, but which one of those? I think when you're looking at those 3 guys, is it Sewell or Slater or Darisaw? Which one of those guys might be available at that time? And I think that's where that possibility of moving up would come in. But without a second round pick, do you have the draft capital even to to move up into a position. But there are just so many unknowns. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with a lot of trades or what teams are actually going to pick ahead. But to me, I'm guessing that it's going to be one of those two offensive linemen will probably be left out of those three. So it'd be Slater or Darisaw, I think.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate all three of you guys' time today. Thank you for joining the Vikings Draft Happy Hour. We'll see here in less than an hour who the Vikings are going to select. So I guess now it's just a waiting game now, right?
Exactly.
Next step, we're gonna get you all. Next
step
step is we're getting you all in town, and we're gonna get Lieber drinking, and then we're gonna see what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Well, we got the newest member of the Minnesota Vikings here in the chat now, Mr. Dalvin Tomlinson. Dalvin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. What's your thoughts for tonight? You were drafted a few years back, so what's your thoughts heading into this draft and meeting a new teammate?
I'm super excited, and one thing I've learned about the draft throughout the years is always unexpected. You never know what's going to happen. Things change from minute to minute, so you have to just sit back, wait and see.
Well, I appreciate you pausing your game for us tonight and joining us because I know it was a lot going on. But Michael Pierce will be joining in here soon. Have you guys got a chance to talk yet?
Yeah, I talked to Mike a couple times. He played high school with a lot of my college teammates. In Daphne, Alabama. So we got to know each other a little bit.
Hey, Dalvin, how excited are you to work with a guy like Andre Patterson to come to the Vikings and work with a coach who's been around for a very long time and has a very proven track record?
Super excited. I just remember talking to Coach Patterson at the combine when I was coming out, and he was hoping back then that we had the opportunity to work together and get some technique work in and things like that. So I'm super excited to work with him and just looking forward to getting out there on the field to get coached by him.
Well, I think Michael Pierce is here. Michael, how you doing, man?
What's happening, bro? I'm good. How are y'all?
I'm good, man. I'm excited to see you and Dalvin. I guess it's virtual now. You and virtually together talking football. I feel like a lot of Vikings fans are happy. Pete Burcich has his phone out. I think this is probably the happiest I've seen Pete all night. Talk to me, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I like what we have going on. Obviously, this offseason, having Dalvin next to me is going to make my job so much easier, obviously. And with everybody we have coming back, everybody healthy, I think it's going to be a great year.
Is that the Brooklyn Nets Coogee?
No, this is not Coogee. This is a D'Angelo Russell jersey.
Oh, okay.
So when I get up there, I got to get a Minnesota one. But no, bro, I'm out the Coogee, man. I think I live.
No, on the stripes of the jersey, that's the Brooklyn jersey. That's Coogee on the side. That was a tribute to Biggie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's what the side of your jersey is. It's a Coogee sweater mixed with a Brooklyn Nets jersey.
Appreciate the education.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Biggie, man.
I know that. But for sure. Shout out to Biggie.
Well, I think.
Hey, Mike. Ron's a big BSer. I wouldn't believe a word that he said.
You can Google it.
Please do your own research. I think
I gotta get him right, man. I gotta get him right.
He wants to sound so hip. He wants to be so cool, man. Like, Google it yourself and figure it out.
Is that Chris Young that I see?
I'm just kidding, Ron. I'm just kidding.
Is that Chris Young that I see in the chat now?
Yes, it is.
Hey, so before I'm Gabe, by the way, Ron Johnson, of course, Pete Burcich, Ben Lieber, Mike Mussman, Michael Pierce, Dalvin Tomlinson. I got a question for you because surprisingly, I like country music. So I listened to your most recent song called Famous Friends, and I wrote this question down. I said, in your song, you said your buddy Brandon holds a record for season touchdown throws. I got to know who Brandon is.
All right, so Brandon, actually, this is crazy. One of the cool things that I got to do with this is a song with me and my buddy Kane Brown. When we got the chance to do the video, I was like, we got to have some people in here that I named directly. So the guy that's now a firefighter who I helped put through school to be a firefighter is Brandon, but he goes by Bubba. So he got real mad at me because, like when it comes to nicknames, everybody gets very specific about what they want to be called. He was very unhappy that I called him by Brandon because no one knows that his name is Brandon.
Hey, Chris, it's Muss here from K102, buddy. You're 6'4". You must have played a little ball, right, when you were growing up?
Okay, so even though I am slightly puffy now in my 30s, when I was in high school, everybody wanted me to play basketball or they wanted me to do something with football because I was tall, but I was really, really skinny. I looked like somebody put me together with toothpicks, and I was not very fast. I'm going to be honest. So I picked choir. I feel like that worked out well. Now I just talk about sports. All right, that's it.
Well, this is a Vikings draft happy hour, and I'm sorry that we let a Bears fan in yourself, Chris Young. So,
whoa, hang on. There's someone on the podcast with me that's a Bears fan. I'm a Cowboys fan, which might be worse.
Yeah, that might be even worse. That might be,
worse.
But it's okay. It's okay. You know, here in Minnesota, we welcome in visitors. So, welcome to the chat.
Well, the fact that the Cowboys are a dumpster fire, it's okay. So it doesn't.
All right. First of all, now I'm not only a Cowboys fan, but I'm also buddies with Dak. So I gotta be a little careful with me just dunking on last year too much.
Well, he didn't play though. It's not his fault. He didn't play. If he played, they would have won. So you can give him that.
I mean, and look,
Chris, you're on with Mike and Dalvin here, defensive lineman, which your Cowboys defense is terrible.
Well, Dalvin played against that offense last year. Have Dalvin tell you about what you need.
Well, look, hey, if you want me to guess, like I would say, I don't think he would disagree with me. I think we need to go defense first. You know, we picked 10th. I know a lot of people have been talking about Surtain from Bama. I actually like J.C. Horn better. I know that's probably going to be not as popular, maybe a little more of a hot take, but Joe Horn's kid out of South Carolina, I really like him, especially with the tendency of what we're going to try to do defensively now, having who we've got doing our defensive coordinating.
Hey, Dalvin, you played the Cowboys your first 4 years, twice a year when you were with the New York Giants. Michael, you played the Cowboys before. Moving to Minnesota now, we know that the Green Bay Packers, they are the biggest rival now. Then it's the Chicago Bears and then the Detroit Lions. The Dallas Cowboys are still on the schedule. Is that still a game that you guys circle each year when you see them?
Always. I feel like I circle every game. So.
Okay. Well, you pause your game according to your T-shirt.
For me, bro, that's America's team. So, whether they are not as great as people are accustomed to, or whether they are. When I played them, it was 2016. That's the year that Zeke really, really took off. So for me, that was like my welcome to the league moment. They had Travis Frederick, Looney, Tyron Smith, all them people, all pros. So this will be the next time I touch them. So I gotta.
I was gonna play good against them.
So you two.
Hey, Chris, I got a question for you here, buddy. So I've been on these tour buses with y'all and watching athletes go crazy over artists, and artists as well going crazy over athletes. Each one wants to be the other. Does that happen often with you?
I mean, just to be 100% honest, I don't know if it's so much both of us want to do what the other one does. It's just that we have so much respect for it. And, it's all entertainment. It's just completely different realms. So when I'm talking about being friends with Dak, recently I took my buddy Jimmy Allen, who's a country artist, out with me to go fish with him and his brother Tad, and Lyle Collins was on the boat with us. And we just kind of all got together, and everybody was excited. Like, they were telling us stories. We were playing them music. And I just feel like there's such a tie-in with entertainment, even if it's sports, music, whatever. We all have a mutual respect for each other. So that's, one of the reasons I'm just such a huge sports fan. It makes it really easy for me to talk about that stuff. And then when I get to hang out with guys, I just try not to, be too over the top about being excited to hang out with them. That's it.
I think that's a really interesting point. I mean, we've all played sports at a high level, except for Muss. Sorry, Muss. But I just had to throw that out there.
Good job. Thank you.
Muss drinks Miller Lite at a high level, so he's good.
But it is interesting that when people meet you, whether you're a singer or a football player, it's surprising how many people are surprised by how normal you are. And I think that's so fascinating. Like, oh yeah, you're actually a nice guy. And you're like, well, what did you expect? Like, did you expect something else? But there's so many stereotypes that I think we all kind of have to break down, and then you get to know us, and we're just normal people, right?
Well, I mean, I agree with you, Ben. And one thing that they all have in common, though, athletes and entertainers, is we all love the roar of the crowd. You know, and for Michael and Dalvin, you guys have to be excited to be able to play in front of full stadiums. You know, Michael, you yourself, you have to be unbelievably excited to get yourself back on the field.
For sure. For sure.
So
I can't wait, man. I cannot wait.
I mean, it had to have been a tough year to watch. It had to. I mean, I can't even imagine how hard that was for you.
Yeah, I'd say the first 8 weeks were tough, but after that, I became a normal fan. And my little wine, I was cool, but no, that was tough to watch, man. Like I said, I haven't been without football since I was 4, so it's been a long year, and it's time to get rolling for sure.
Well, we got about
now you get to come back to all the double teams.
that is not so fun, but you know, that's the life we chose, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, we got about 3 or 4 minutes left in this happy hour, and Dalvin, you just said somebody got to get the double team, so I guess that frees you up to answer my final question. What are your thoughts heading into the 2021 season?
I'm super excited. You know, the front we got, just the players on the defense. I'm ready to go out there, you know, build some chemistry with those guys. And like Mike said, I'm super excited to play with him. One of us getting double team. They can't double team both of us the whole game. So that's a bonus because both of us gonna get some one-on-ones to make some plays and stuff like that. So you know, we're gonna go out there, build off each other, learn how each other play on the field, and then go from there.
Nice. Ezra, I think Ezra Cleveland just joined, and I think we got about 2 minutes left. I was that kid that showed up late to class, too, so no worries, man. But I got to get you're fine. I got to get your thoughts, though. Hey, you were drafted last year in the second round. You're about to have a new teammate. You excelled. You fought through adversity. What is your advice to your future teammate that's going to go through adversity this year?
Well, I'd just say take everything in stride and, you know, just try to bring it all in and do the best you can. I mean, I kept my mouth quiet pretty much the whole year and just tried to absorb as much stuff as I could from the older guys. And, I mean, it worked pretty well for me. So.
Well, now you get to block Michael Pierce and Dalvin Tomlinson in practice. Mm-hmm. How you thinking? What you thinking right now?
I mean, I've heard some great stuff about him. I mean, I haven't met either one of them yet, but I'm excited to meet him and get to know him and go grind out there in the trenches with him.
And if you got to call a double team
for you, Ezra, Garrett Bradbury or Brian O'Neill, who's weirder?
Why is this?
Would have to go Brian, honestly. Brian has his little quirks and stuff, but I mean, both of them have their own personality, and they're both great to hang out with.
Good answer, Ezra.
Hey, Mike. hey, Musk. Garrett Bradbury, like myself, we both spent a lot of time in Raleigh, North Carolina, so that is a great response, Ezra Cleveland. So, Garrett, for you, who's more weird, Ezra Cleveland or Brian O'Neill?
Brian, for sure. Brian gets pretty weird. I mean, yeah, the Brian that y'all see isn't the Brian that we see.
Love it. Well, guys, I appreciate everyone joining tonight's Vikings Draft Happy Hour. Next up is the KFAN's live NFL Draft preview show. So, guys, once you get done with this, head on over to KFAN. Paul Allen, Ben Lieber, all the guys, they'll have you up to speed for everything you need to know. But final thoughts, I'm going to start by posing the question to Ben Lieber before you get out of here.
My final thoughts are, look, we've talked about moving up, trading down, second round pick. All that being said, I think if everything's equal and they stay at 14, I think that you make the obvious choice. You go with the best available offensive lineman that's there, and you move on and see what happens in the second round if they get a pick.
Ron?
I'm with Ben on that. I mean, you look at Vera Tucker, like they said, Derek Shaw is going to be there. I say you take one of the two. You have to get a guy in there. You already have Ezra Cleveland, Brian O'Neill, Gary Bradbury. You have to add somebody to that group, and hopefully not weird. So I think that's the key.
Well, Garrett and Ezra, I know you guys can't speculate, so I'm gonna go to Pete Bursich for this question. Who are you thinking?
Well, I mean, offensive line, I have a hard time believing that you're going to see 4 quarterbacks and 3 wide receivers go before the Vikings pick. I think there's going to be some other positions sprinkled in there. But, I mean, main thing is you look at Michael, you look at Dalvin, you got Patrick Peterson, you got Mackenzie Alexander back, you have Woods at safety. You've done a lot in free agency to bring in guys who are going to make an impact immediately. I mean, you look at Eric Kendricks, he's going to drop 20 pounds just so that he can run better because he's not going to be taking on blocks with these 2 big guys in front of him. I mean, it's a lot of this has been put in place already. So I've been trying to say to Viking fans, tonight's important, but it's not essential. I think a lot of the heavy lifting, especially defensively, we were 27th in defense in a top 5 offense. I think we've addressed those defensive concerns, and maybe we could just add another, hood ornament, let's say, to the offense.
Hey, Chris Young, what do the Vikings need to do this draft to make sure they get a win over the Cowboys this season?
Oh, man, I hate the way you show up. There it is. There it is. You know what? If you're looking for offensive linemen, kind of the guys that I've seen, Slater out of Northwestern. Obviously, the first pick that anyone would take offensive lineman in that draft that they've seen was the kid out of Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Is it
Penei Sewell?
Sewell? Is it? Yeah. Sewell is great. If you wanted to just try to double down on defensive end, obviously you've got Phillips and Page out of Michigan. But I don't know, man. I think lines always get overlooked when people are drafting, and that's like not a sexy pick for teams, but I've seen the Cowboys have a lot of success with drafting guys real early that have been offensive or defensive linemen. I think it's important.
Chris, when are you getting back out on the road, man?
Hey, believe it or not, the irony is high with this. My first show is actually going to happen in June, and it's in California.
Wow.
So they made it work. It's outside. It's, to the cap, which we are able to perform. But so pumped to be getting out on the road. And I know you guys are excited to have people in the stands.
Oh,
so.
Absolutely. You have an album coming out soon, right, Chris?
Yeah, we're getting ready to announce it, but it's going to be coming out this summer. I just actually finalized the track listing. Like, everything's good, man. I'm just really, really pumped because entertainment is such a big part of my life. Like I said, I'm excited for the music. I'm excited to get to some games this year. And hopefully the Vikings don't dunk all over my Cowboys at any point,
Well, for more about Chris Young, go to chrisyoungcountry.com. You'll get all the information you need from him. Hey, Garrett, I keep seeing your face coming to the screen, leave the screen. What's going on, man?
I'm just cruising, man. Phone's about to die.
Gotcha, man.
A bump on his face or something.
Awesome. Well, guys, we're going to get out of here with that. Thank you guys again for tuning into another edition of Vikings Draft Happy Hour. Tonight was fun. We had a lot of great guests, a lot of great people here. Like I said before, head on over to KFAN. Paul Allen, he has an NFL Draft pre-show. And Ron, before we get out of here, I want to hear your final thoughts regarding post-draft. How many picks away are the Vikings from making noise in the future?
Honestly, I think they're 1 pick away. I mean, I'm not boasting. I think Pete Bursich brought it up. They were a top 5 offense. Defensively, a lot of injuries. You add 600 pounds of beef in the middle now. And so I think that's going to help the run game, and then you bring back a guy like Mackenzie Alexander, who knows this defense at nickel. You bring a guy like Patrick Peterson, who can cover man-to-man. And you have 2 guys that are going to get after the quarterback. In Danielle Hunter coming back, you still have Jalen Holmes. You have some young pieces, DJ Wanham. They can get after the quarterback as well. So I think you get a guy, a receiver that can return punts. You get a receiver that can play the third. Your tight ends are good. Your quarterback is legit. I think they're fine. Offensive line, you only need 1 piece, whether it's guard or tackle, because you have Ezra, you have O'Neal, and you can figure out which one's going to play guard or tackle. And so from there, Bradbury, we know what he's done. It's there. It's honestly there. And the Packers probably won't have a quarterback next year. So I think the NFC North is now back up in the air. Everybody was giving it to the Packers, and the quarterback doesn't want to be there. And so that's why I think they're 1 pick away.
Awesome. Well, I always enjoy having you on the show. So next time we'll have more content, more things to talk about. But in the meantime, I know I said KFAN, go there, but actually the stream is coming here. So don't change your channel. Don't change your browser. The KFAN live stream with Paul Allen and Paul Chartrand is right here.
long-term solution for this.
Now, Paul Allen reported this morning that the 49ers made a substantive offer to the Packers very recently, to which they summarily...
So we can go upstairs.
Do you think the mood has changed enough that there could be...
One thing I was going to say, and I should have told you beforehand. Well, they gave you...
I don't think Green Bay's interested in Jimmy Garoppolo. So, you cut Jimmy per whomever has it per his deal. I think it's a $4 million cap hit. So that's not bad. It's not terrible. No. So I don't believe that will happen. But, as we were sharing this morning, you and I, and then Ben and I, everything that I learned last night is coming to pass. And it started with the 49ers offering their third overall pick, Jimmy Garoppolo, and more for Aaron Rodgers. And, as I said in a bunch of conversations I had with people today calling me, is, I stick by this. And I think I know the information is unimpeachable. So we'll start there. That's the breadcrumb. Now the shepherds and everybody, they make the loaves, and they're right.
But what if it's not Sanford? Now, if you believe the report that Rodgers has said internally and through his agent, there are 3 teams that he would like to play for.
There are.
Not just 49ers, it's also the Broncos. Yep. Congratulations, George Payton. And it's also the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, is Derek Carr a type of player that the Packers would want to get? Now, is Derek Carr somebody that maybe they can even parlay that into another trade? Now, 3-team trades don't happen ever in the NFL, but if you pick up that equity and you think that Love is your guy going forward, that's what caused this whole kerfuffle. If he's gonna be your starter,
I know, and I reacted like that because you're right. That was the start. Now, cliche as this may be, again, going off all the intel from last night, and there's much more that I haven't shared because I don't feel comfortable sharing it because this thing's gotten too hot. Stuff that transpired between Aaron and Green Bay around free agency, and the person with whom I was chatting, it's the information's coming from either somebody tied to the Niners, somebody tied to Rodgers, or somebody tied to Green Bay. And there were things being shared where I was like, wow, you got to make sure that somebody's not lying to you because this is just a little outlandish. So you're right, started with the Jordan Love draft pick, but that field goal in the NFC title game,
that stings.
Yes. And when they took the gun out of Wyatt Earp's hand, and I don't think he can get over it.
I think, like I said with Church, I think the trust is broken.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, I'm kind of just watching how Rodgers has reacted to other things and I'm kind of getting a sense of his personality and his attitude because I don't know him personally like that. That I think when he was left in the dark about their intentions to draft a first-round quarterback, I think that fractured things big time. I think even went back all the way to when McCarthy was fired and he wasn't really involved in who the head coach was going to be, and then go with this young guy that he doesn't really know. I just think that he feels like he's not valued as much as he thinks he should be for that organization. Wow. And I just think that you add it all up, and I don't think there's any way that you can really repair this relationship unless, since those things, like Chart, you're saying, I agree with you. They've known this internally for months.
They have.
Right? This is not new news to them.
It's just new to us.
It's just, what if, after all the things that have happened in the last few hours, they reassure him, Aaron, this draft, we're going to take care of. And they assure him, we're going to give you the things that you want to get. Well, then I think maybe you can get on the right track.
According, if you believe the media reports that have come out in the last few hours, Rodgers has made it clear the one way the team can mend the relationship, and it's been this way since the end of last season, is to have a new extended contract. Because he doesn't want to have Jordan Love he doesn't look over his shoulder at Jordan Love the way Brett Favre was looking over his shoulder at Aaron Rodgers. And the team hasn't done it all the way here.
He wants a commitment. That's all he wants. He wants a commitment.
Now, he's still under contract for 3 years, but he wants a bigger, longer commitment than that even. And he's not going to get it in all probability. Now, the Viking fans listening find this absolutely delicious because the Packers have had almost nothing to squirm about at the quarterback position for 30 damn years, right? Yeah. But you got to be careful what you wish for. If this thing breaks wrong, this draft could end up going something like, Justin Fields ends up on the Packers and they reset the clock for another 15 years of great quarterbacking.
Oh, don't say that.
I mean, we're finally in the twilight of Aaron Rodgers' career where you can see the end where he's not going to be playing and haunting the Vikings any longer. They could end up resetting the clock with another great young quarterback. I don't think Jordan Love is a great young quarterback. And so he doesn't worry me too much. But if they end up with the Niners pick, perhaps at 3, or they end up with Denver's pick at 8, who knows? Then this thing gets a little bit more interesting for Viking fans. And in the moment, it feels good to have a little bit of drama for Green Bay, but in the long run, it might not.
Adam Thielen, wide receiver for the Vikings, will be joining us shortly on the KFAN NFL Draft Show provided by Pilot Games. 20 minutes from, really 30 minutes from pick 1. 20 from the commissioner taking the stage, welcoming everybody. And the draft is in Cleveland, home of the Cleveland Browns. Head coach, Associated Press Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski, formerly offensive coordinator here. The Vikings have the Browns on the schedule, one of their home games this year. And it's going to be interesting early in the draft to see how things fall, beginning with like the Detroit Lions, or Cincinnati Bengals, really. The Vikings are at Cincinnati this year. They're at San Francisco. They have the 3rd pick. The Packers 7th, correct? The Packers, the Lions 7th.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's the home games outside of the division, Seattle, Dallas, LA Rams, Stefanski, and then the Steelers. And then outside of the division teams on the road, 17th game at the LA Chargers, at SoFi, Arizona, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Niners, and Carolina. They're all tough, man. And Ben, you played in games with tough schedules, but man, this is kind of a bear, isn't it? Holy cow.
I mean, every year you look at the schedule and it never really seems all that easy. There might be some teams on there like, not a playoff team last year. That we can. And then you really start to really analyze and you really look at it and you're like, dang, man, these are all really good teams. And then, you look at the draft and who they add, and free agency is still not over yet. There's still a big pool of free agents, and that's the other thing we kind of forget about, even when you look at the Viking situation, that if you don't feel the need in this draft, well, there's some really good free agents out there that are just clamoring for contracts because it's such a terrible year with the salary cap and all that. So you're going to get a decent player for cheap. So you add all that up, you never know. We always looked at the schedule. What's the hot games? What's the cold games? Are you indoors? What's the primetime games? Because at the end of the day, once you get to that game week, that you got to get everything you got anyway. Like, that team is going to come out and they're going to try to beat you. It doesn't matter if you're playing the Jets from last year. There's still an outside chance that if you don't put your best foot forward, they're going to beat you and you're going to get embarrassed. So we don't really, as players, tend to look at truly analyzing the strength and talent of each team because it's so even.
And a lot of it depends on just when you run into a team. Yeah. You happen to play a very good team when they've got a bunch of injuries. There's just
or you yourself as a team.
Oh, yeah, right. You've got your own injuries.
Yeah, you might be rolling as a team, and then you get into that week, and all of a sudden, your star running back is hurt, not playing. Like, oh, sure, can we win this game now with RB2? I don't know. You start doing all those calculations too. So, but fact of the matter is, when the schedule comes out here in a few weeks, where's the coldest game? where are the out?
When do we play in Green Bay?
Yeah, when do we play in Green Bay? When do we play at Soldier Field?
Yeah.
How many dome games do we have? How many primetime games do we have? Yeah. Oh God, are we playing on Christmas again?
Right.
Like you look at all those things.
Yeah, the Vikings played. They're at Baltimore, and they played the Baltimore Ravens on Christmas Day. Were you on the team then against Kyle Bowler? Might have been right.
That super snowy day?
No, that was Patterson.
Earlier.
Yes.
Oh.
So that was a Christmas Day game. We had one last year, obviously. But before Adam Thielen joins, which is coming up quickly, let's just go back and forth up to 14 as quickly as we can. I'll go back and forth. I'll start. Jags, Lawrence. Jets, Charge.
Zach Wilson.
Niners, Nacho.
Well, I think they should take Justin Fields.
Okay. Falcons, I will go Kyle Pitts, tight end, Florida. Charge, Cincy.
Cincinnati, Jamar Chase.
Wide receiver, LSU.
Yes.
Miami, Nacho Libre.
You said you took Pitts?
Yeah, I took Pitts.
Well, then I'll take Jalen Waddle.
Okay. Lions at 7. I'm going to put Michael Parsons there because I think the last time they had a game-changing linebacker who now is like a consultant to the owner or something. So I'll go Michael Parsons. Panthers at 8. What do you think, Charge?
Left tackle, Penei Sewell.
9, Broncos. They traded for Teddy, giving up a 6th.
Well, I'm a Mac Jones fan. I know they won't take him there, but this is my mock draft.
No. The Teddy thing does not, I don't think, materially change that.
No. I'm saying,
especially when they trade for A-Raj.
Yeah. I know a lot of people don't like Mac Jones right here. They like Trey Lance here. That's where I was. So I would say my mock draft, I would go with Mac Jones in this spot.
Dallas Cowboys, I have no idea. What would you do, Charge?
Patrick Surtain, they need cornerback help.
Okay, do the Giants?
Giants, I believe Jalen Waddle's still available.
I took him. Devontae Smith.
Devontae Smith would be the selection.
Okay, Giants, nobody cares. Eagle, nobody cares. Chargers, quarterback. So with the Vikings, speaking of the Vikings, let's bring Adam Thielen, game-changing wide receiver in, 45 minutes past the hour. AT19, welcome to the draft show with a Nacho Libre, Paul Charchian, and yours truly. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys? Good to see y'all.
You too, man. Hey, just quickly, all of this Aaron Rodgers news that's bouncing around and stuff, like as a player, is it elevator music in one ear, out the other? What do you make of stuff like this?
I don't know. I think it's exciting as an NFL fan. It's kind of fun to see this stuff, hear about it, see what actually happens. Right at the end of the day, it's all just hearsay until something happens. So I don't know. I think it's fun as an NFL fan.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you like this format? I know it's been several years that we've kind of gone through this. We used to have rounds 1 through 3 on a Saturday and the rest on Sunday. Now we've prime-timed this first round only. Do you like this format and this all the drama and the pomp and circumstance surrounding the NFL draft?
I do not. No, I just wish it was just pick after pick after pick after pick. But that's not my choice. It's not my job.
Adam, Paul Charchian, on this day last year, the Vikings drafted Justin Jefferson and went on to have a great season. At what point when Justin showed up did you go, wow, this kid belongs in this league?
Well, I was talking earlier today about, when we did draft him and I was able to see the highlight film of him at LSU and they, them kind of talking about him and his potential and things like that. And at that point, I was like, man, this guy's got the potential to be a really good NFL football player. And then, kind of fast forward to the summer, with COVID, everything, didn't really see him much with OTAs and all that, being virtual. And then was able to get with him and run some routes in the summertime. And that was what I really knew, his catch radius, his just his fluid route running, just being able to run smooth and get in and out of breaks. And I could tell that there was something special there. But at the end of the day, you don't really know until you get to game day. And he did his thing.
Now, Adam, you guys have virtual meetings going on right now, and it'll be a couple of weeks now before you guys can actually check in and see each other firsthand. But Clint Kubiak is now taken over as the offensive coordinator. And as much as you can tell through virtual meetings, how has he adjusted? How are things the same? And maybe how are things different than they were last year?
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, really nothing's different. We're just installing the same offense. He's definitely got his own little wrinkles, and the coaching staff has their own little wrinkles to it, and things that maybe that they kind of threw out or adjusted terminology-wise, play-wise. But yeah, he's actually done a great job just kind of leading the room. At this point of the offseason, that's really all he can do. So you really don't really know what you're getting in an offense coordinator until you get to game day. But as far as kind of leading the group and getting the plays installed and kind of talking about the nuances of the routes and the concepts, he's doing a great job.
And having preseason games this year, I mean, veterans like you, not the biggest fans of preseason games. Not having the preseason last year, what was eye-opening to you about that? And secondly, having a coordinator who's never called plays in a game. I mean, having a preseason, that's vital for Clint, right?
There's a lot of ways I could go with this, but, I think there's a few different sides of it, right? Part of me loves the preseason because I get to watch a bunch of guys have fun, balling out, seeing guys that maybe you thought were good football players, but then you see him playing preseason, you're like, man, this guy's got potential to be really good. So I love that part of it. Obviously, without OTAs, without preseason games, I wouldn't be where I am today. So, but then the other side of it is last year was the best I've ever felt in my life at 30 years old, and it was because I got 6 months straight to be able to train with my guy at ETS, Ryan Engelbert, and was able to really put a plan together to make sure that I was going to stay healthy and feel as good as possible. So there's kind of two sides of it, but yeah, definitely excited to get around the guys and to be able to see these young guys, have some fun and ball out.
Minnesota Vikings receiver Adam Thielen on the KFAN Draft Show. Ben Lieber, Paul Charchi, and Paul Allen, 6:50. First pick about 20 minutes from now. Charch?
Adam, fans feel like the draft every year is very special. We analyze the picks and the players and the trades and the drama and everything. Do you follow it? Do you follow what the Vikings are doing? Do you investigate the players even before you've met them? Do you follow it closely like fans do?
I do. I'm an NFL fan. So on Sundays after we're done, I get home, I turn on NFL football. I love watching it. And it almost feels like an out-of-body experience, like I feel like a fan again. I don't feel like it's the same thing that I do every single day. So I love it from a fan perspective. From a team perspective, it is what it is, right? Like it's great, obviously, to see who your teammates are going to be and kind of find out a little bit more about them before you get to see them. But more for me is from a fan.
Adam, you mentioned health earlier. Last year, you felt really healthy going into the season. Well, your health and everybody else's health is going to be put to the test with the 17th game. What is your feeling about the 17th game, and what's the vibe with the rest of the locker room about the 17th game?
I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly. It's just, 50 to 60 more snaps, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that big of a deal. I think the bigger deal is the offseason programming, to be honest. Because that's where you're getting unnecessary hits. You're taking maybe some you're kind of maybe taking a step backwards, things like that. But the extra game is what it is. 50, 60 snaps, not a big deal.
Adam, 2014. Were you listening to draft coverage on the Vikings radio network in Detroit Lakes?
2013.
2013. Sorry, 2013.
2013, I was in Mankato finishing up school, and I was watching the draft, hoping my name was called, but I knew that would never happen. Received a few calls, so I thought, hey, here we go. But it was just saying that they were going to invite me to rookie camp.
All right. So none of your friends pranked you? Because that's what I'd have done. Oh. I'd have pranked you, and this is Rick Spielman. Are you ready to be a Viking? No.
I'm surprised nobody did that, but that would be a pretty low prank.
Right. And you know what? Aaron Henderson, your former teammate, Ben knows him too. I don't know if you guys played together, EJ's brother. But, I did that 9 to noon KFAN, cold called him with a prank during free agency, pretending I was from the New England Patriots. He hung up on me on the radio, didn't speak to me for 6 months. He was so mad.
Wow.
Because kind of like Adam was saying, it's a tenuous
You can't
time.
do that? Come on.
You can't do that.
I didn't know that about you, PA.
Yeah, there's a lot you don't know. You had 14 receiving TDs last year. That's a fantastic mark, highest of your career. What led to that? And do you think you can get close to it or surpass it this year?
I have no idea. I think it's just opportunity. There's a lot of factors that go into individual statistics in the NFL. I think that's the reason why I don't set statistical goals, because there's so many factors that lead into it. I know that there's a lot I could have done a lot better, and I could have had a lot more touchdowns. So it doesn't really, stats don't really say that you played well or didn't play well. I honestly believe that because, like I said, there are a lot of situations last year that I could have done a better job, and I would have had 17, 18, 19 touchdowns. But it could have gone the other way too. So again, I just focus on my job, try to do the best every single game, try to win ball games. That's all that matters, right? There was games last year that we were playing from behind, and we were out of games, and you're scoring touchdowns. So it doesn't really matter unless you're winning.
My man, you're the best, and when you do, thank you, Adam. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Thank you.
All right.
Draft coverage courtesy of Pilot Games at KFAN continues shortly. Paul Allen and Lieber, Paul Charchian, Twitter polls with hashtag KFAN Draft. We'll catch you up on that and much more when we return to KFAN.
This is KFAN's NFL Draft coverage presented by Pilot Games.